Hallo und herzlich willkommen im Café am Rande des Feldes. Wir sprechen hier über die Macht deiner Intuition und die Weisheit deines Herzens. Ich bin Solveig Berg, deine Gastgeberin und Begründerin von Conscious Reading, dem bewussten Lesen und Erschaffen im Feld, und ich freue mich riesig, dass du hier bist. Dieses Mal in einer englischen Special Edition. Enjoy! Hi and welcome in my podcast interview. It's called, in English, it's called the Café at the Edge of the Field. It's a translation of our German title. And with me today, I have a really special guest. It's Becca Kilvington. And you can see it in her name tag. She's from Cloud 7 Meditation. And please, Rebecca, can you just present yourself a little bit? Tell us a little bit about you, what you're doing, and we will dig deeper in our interview.
Excellent, very excited. Yeah, so thanks, Solveig. My name's Becca, and I set up Cloud 7 Meditation about 2 years ago now. I've had a very different career path from a meditation teacher. So when I started out in my career, I was actually a lawyer, and I was working in a really sort of high pressure, stressful environment in London in a law firm. And then I had 3 children in very quick succession, and my life totally changed. And law wasn't just no longer feasible for me. I was very stressed out, and having children sort of tipped me over the edge, essentially. So I followed my intuition, which was saying, get out of law, change your career path. And I found meditation to help me cope with the stresses and strains of being a parent, because it can be quite stressful. And it's gone from there, essentially. So I started meditating about 9 years ago, and immediately I was just like, oh my goodness, this just, in my body, it just felt so incredible. The first session that I had when I meditated, I came out feeling so happy. And then I knew from that moment that meditating would work for me. So since then, I've done various meditating courses, and during lockdown, I did my teacher training meditating course and set up my own business. And yeah, and here I am. Yeah.
Crazy. I have a lot of questions popping up listening to you. The first one is it really, I always think, like, is it a cliche maybe that we think that lawyers are all only acting from the head with pressure, like you described in London? This is the picture we have, stressing around, being a high performer, but never letting your feelings show. Is it a cliche, or did you experience it really this way?
Yeah, so I felt like a fish out of water, and I knew immediately when I started that that in my heart of hearts, this wasn't the right career choice for me, because just as you said, all of my thinking was being done up in my head, and there was little room for intuitive thinking, because you go through law school, you have to learn, you have to pile your brain up with loads of facts and loads of information, and you do the same with your clients. It's all about the facts, and it's all about what you know, essentially, but it's not really about what your intuition is saying. There's not really that much room for it. And at that stage in my life, I wasn't taught how to use my intuition. You don't learn it at school, at least you didn't when I was at school. And I didn't even know it was a way of thinking. I didn't even know that there was another way of thinking outside my head. So, but strangely, I had this really strong intuitive pull within me to say, get out of London, get out of law. And I felt that really deeply. And I suppose that was the first moment that I actually followed my intuition, because I left London first. I didn't leave law immediately, but I left London first, which was the best decision. And then I left law a few years later. But yes, you're right. Lawyers do use their heads a lot more than their intuition, and I've had to totally retrain the way I think. So I think now much less in my head and much more with my intuition, and I just, I love it. It delivers so much more clarity for me. And it's really exciting for me. I love learning new stuff, and this is a completely different skill for me. So yes, the short answer is yeah, I'm now thinking in a completely different way.
Oh, cool. And what is so fascinating is, even though we don't learn how to listen to our intuition, or it's not even mentioned in school or in studies, it's still there, and you listen to it. And my question would be, was there a high grade of suffering when you finally chose to listen to your intuition, or was it very easy for you to follow this voice?
Well, it started off like shouting at me because I essentially had a bit of a breakdown in London, and life got really uncomfortable, and that was kind of my my body shouting at me, get out, get out. So that was quite an uncomfortable experience. And also when I had children, that I went through a period of being extremely uncomfortable in that I had postnatal depression, and and I went through a really difficult time. But again, I think that was my intuition and my inner world just screaming, you need to change something. And it was that kind of that sort of, I suppose it was that suffering that was the catalyst to me changing. And it was my intuition screaming at me, you have to do something to change, because you can't continue like this. But since then, since I've made all those changes and since I took up meditating, and since I started following my intuition and not being so much in my head, it's now become really joyful and really easy and really straightforward, and life just seems to flow much better. I know, for example, when I don't meditate in the morning, my day's a little bit rockier. When I meditate in the morning, which I do most days, the day just kind of smoothly runs, and there's not this sort of roller coaster of craziness that I used to experience. So since breaking through, I suppose, into this alternate way of thinking, this way of thinking and this way of being is much easier and much more joyful and much more straightforward. But it was a rocky process to get to here, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, it was tough. But a lot of people do struggle, do have to go through that to get to the other side, don't they?
Yes, no, that's boot camp, training camp. And when did you first meditate? What was your first contact with meditation?
So it was in the midst of my postnatal depression, and my eldest was 4 and my twins were 2. And the doctors put me on all sorts of medication, should I say. And I was just like, okay, they're just putting a sticking plaster over something. I need to do something to get to the root cause of why I'm feeling like this. And I saw a little poster up in my Pilates studio saying, come and learn to meditate. And it so happened by chance that my children were in nursery at school on those exact times. So I was like, yes, this is a sign, I'm doing this. And it was a sign. So I signed up for the class, and that was my first experience of it. And I just felt a rush of elation the first time I meditated. And I was just like, oh my God, this is what my whole being was looking for. This is what my mind was screaming out for, because you're giving your mind a bit of a holiday each time you meditate, and you're letting your body go into a state of relaxation. And after a while, I'm able to now go into deep healing mode and let my body do its work in repairing and restoring itself. So that's exactly what my intuition was screaming out for when it was making me when my body was suffering and my mind was suffering. It was screaming out for a bit of meditation, because since then it's been a journey. But since then, it's totally off the medication. I rarely, touch wood, go to doctors anymore. I'm so happy. I've changed my career path. I have a purpose in my life that brings me lots of joy and happiness. So I feel really lucky. My whole life's totally changed, and that started with that one meditation class, essentially. So I'm so glad I did it. It's just, such a life-changing event for me.
Yeah. And now today you are offering meditations. You are guiding others through meditations. Is this right?
Yeah. So now, so I got more and more into it, and the more I delved into it, the more knowledge I picked up, the more fascinated I became by the whole concept and the whole all of the benefits of meditation. So I did my teacher training course, and now I teach adults and I teach children, and I teach corporates as well. So I set up meditation programs for businesses too. So yeah, so I'm busy.
Yeah, you have to help me with something, because I know many people are reluctant to start with meditation because they have a certain image about what it is. It's like, I have to sit in a certain posture. It's very exhausting, and I have to be still all the time. I must not think, something like that. There are some myths around about meditation. Can you tell us something about it that encourages those people maybe to give it a try?
For sure. So I'll start with children, because parents often say to me, oh, my child won't be able to meditate because they can't sit still. So no children in my classes sit still, and I don't expect them to sit still. In fact, moving about in a class is actually what their bodies are telling them they need, because movement grounds you. So the kids who are moving around are essentially trying to ground themselves by movement. So we'll do like a standing up, we'll do a bit of some yoga poses like tree pose or mountain pose, or we'll do a grounding visualization to help ground their energy. But never in my class ever have I had 10 children sitting there perfectly go, because it's just, adults can't do it, and children certainly can't do it and don't have to do it either. It's not a requirement that they have to sit still. And we do lots of movement and lots of fun sort of imaginative visualizations where they can move about and make a noise if they want to. But adults, for their main concern is that they think they can't meditate because they aren't able to silence their thoughts. So what is really interesting, and so I learned this when I did my meditation teacher training course, is that when you are sitting in a meditation and when you're experiencing thoughts, which everybody does, I mean, even gurus who've been meditating for 50 years will have thoughts in their meditation. It's actually a really good sign, because thoughts are your brain and your conscious thinking releasing stress. And I find this particularly with me. So if I'm going through a stressful time, most of my meditation will be thought filled, where my brain processes and sorts and shifts and does what it needs to do. And then I might have a little bit of time at the end where it quietens down a bit. And when I'm calm, I have a lot more time where I'm able to go deeper. But the thing is, your meditation will be perfect for you at that particular time, because your body and your mind knows, this is where it goes into its intuitive state. It knows what to do, and it knows how to deliver you the best thing and what you need. So thoughts are actually a brilliant part of your meditation, and they're perfectly normal. And essentially they're an essential part, because you're releasing the stress that you've built up in your mind. Do you meditate?
Yeah, I do it. Like, I had several phases in my life, and I can actually assign every word you say, every single word. I made a lot of nice, positive, really uplifting experiences with meditation. And I also changed my way of meditating. I could sit still for a few hours, but I can also see meditation is, like you say, moving around, dancing, doing whatever gets me into my flow. And I like that you you give us another image of meditation. And I also know that it's not about hour-long meditations what you are offering, because I know you made another product for, like, I don't know how it's called, but it's like short meditations, isn't it?
Yeah. So so I've put online a collection of short meditations. It's called Meditations for Busy People. And they're really short little visualizations and breathwork techniques and mini meditations that you can do like on the go and fit into your daily life, because sometimes you don't have time to sit and do a 20-minute meditation. And also sometimes you get to a little bit of a crisis point in your day where you just need to stop and breathe, or stop and ground yourself, or whatever it is. There are like lots of different tools in there to help with various different sort of crises, or to help with mindset, or to help with workplace scenarios. Like if you've got an issue with a colleague and it's driving you a bit bananas, you can sit and do this 2-minute meditation to help ease the energy between you. So yeah, that's a really exciting program that I recorded that in the spring, and it's it's online now.
Yeah, I think that's really cool. We will put up all the information in the show notes, so whenever you feel like, oh, that's something for me, just look it up and give it to yourself as a present, because I think it's really valuable. I can absolutely confirm, if you have this morning routine with a meditation starting your day off, it's just another quality of the day. It gets like, I can always tell, I'm not doing it every day because I'm too lazy for that. I'm not with morning routines, but whenever I do it, I can tell there's another quality of time throughout the day. It's like time expanding. I think I have more time, I can do more. And there's a saying, you should meditate 20 minutes every day. Unless you don't have time, then you should do it 1 hour.
Yeah, that's
so true.
A Buddhist saying. Yeah, that's so true. And that's another reason why people sort of have this sort of barrier to meditation. They think they don't have time, but actually, like you said, it gives you more focus and more capacity, I suppose, to get the stuff done in your day. So you're actually giving yourself time, because your brain, when you're meditating, your brain sort of has a holiday, but it also sifts through some of the junk and some of the detritus that's, the stress that's been built up over the last day or last week, whatever. And when that's had a chance to filter and to sort of settle, you can sit down and you can just get your jobs done. Like I'm like, morning times are good for me, so I get all my jobs done and all my sort of admin, and just plow through it, and then have a bit of a lull in the afternoon, and I meditate then, and then early evening I sort of pick myself up again, and I'm so it definitely gives you more focus and more drive.
It creates more time, it creates more efficiency, and it creates more clarity too. If you come out of your meditation, you often have more clarity about what of these points of my to-do list are actually really necessary, because maybe a third of this is not necessary. It's just activism and throughout the day. So this is really, and there's a chance that while you sit in meditation and you just open up your space, things can sort out by themselves.
Yeah,
you will come back and see like, oh, this has sorted out by itself already, so I don't have to do anything about this.
Yeah, so that's when, I was mentioning how life flows a lot easier when I meditate. So things just sort of fall into place. It sounds really woo, but if you've been meditating for a long time, you'll know what I mean. And things just sort of flow really easily and without effort, essentially, because your energy is changing, and you're drawing ease and flow to yourself, because your own energy is sort of relaxed and good. But yes, yeah, and then when I don't meditate, it kind of takes the rockier path. But also when you meditate, you often have flashes of inspiration as well. So if you come up with a problem in your working life or your daily life, and you sat there and you're scratching your head and your head can't work it out, and oh, I just don't know how to resolve it, then often what I do, because I live by the sea, I'm very lucky, I go down to the beach and I just listen, because my sense of hearing is quite good, so I like to listen to things. And I just listen to the sea for a couple of minutes, let my head stop whirring, stop going round and round, and breathe a little bit. And then often the answer would just pop into my head because I've just let my brain quieten down. And I suppose that's my inner intuition, because my brain has calmed down. My intuition is telling me the answer. It's just popped into my head because I've given it some space.
Yeah.
So that's another really, that's a really extraordinary side effect of meditating, and you get creative inspiration and answers to problems, and they just pop into your head. It's quite great. And when it happens, you're like,
Everyday magic you can create. Yeah.
yeah.
No, I absolutely agree with you. There are no disadvantages about meditation in whatever form you do it. It just adds to your life. And now I'm very curious, because I really feel very honored that you, as a certified meditation teacher, came into my training, in the conscious reading training, and I'm very curious about how does it add to your job, to what you do.
So yeah, so I did Solveig's amazing course, conscious reading course. Was it a couple of months ago? And I use it in different ways. So I use it. So first of all, I use it for myself and for day-to-day decision making. So if I'm stuck on something in a meditation, I'll use the technique, and I'll go in and I will visualize a creative solution to what I'm stuck on. Or, if I'm not sure where to go in my business, I can get some ideas and see where to go. I also use it to create meditations, and so my meditations for busy people, a lot of those were downloaded when I was doing your technique. And I saw, so I'd go into, I do the conscious reading technique, and I'd ask for a meditation to to boost creativity, for example. And then I'd see it. I'd close my eyes and I'd see the meditation. It would just appear to me. It was so easy, so straightforward. And then I'd record it, and there's the meditation. It was it was before I'd spend 2 hours scratching my head thinking, okay, I need some ideas for how to boost creativity. Whereas this is just, 5 minutes later, I had the meditation. So those meditations are on the website. And I also do lesson plans. So when I do a class of in-person teaching, I'll sit and I'll do my lesson plan and intuitively ask what the class would need, what kind of meditation the class would need. And also when I do one-to-one, so I do a lot of private client work as well. And before each session, I will ask what kind of meditations or what kind of thing would benefit the client. And things will occur to me that I just wouldn't have, using my thinking mind, I wouldn't have come up with. So, and when I speak to the client about the things that I'm suggesting, they're like, oh yeah, I really love that. La, 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 la. Like, okay, this actually works. This is great.
Oh, that's so fun to hear. That's so cool. This is what fills me up most, fulfills me most with my training, when I hear clients talk about how they combine it with what they're doing anyway, with what they are experts in, and it's so nice to hear how it fits to what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the background, the background aspect, which clients probably don't necessarily know that I'm doing, but that all happens in the background. But I also offer clients readings face to face as well. So if they have a life issue they want to work through, they can ask me questions and I'll do a reading for them. So that's more sort of front facing and more sort of client focused work. And I do that for, business leaders and CEOs and, company bosses. If they're struggling with, creative inspiration or with issues, then we can sit and they can ask me questions and I'll see what comes up. It's always quite fascinating because you never know what's going to come up.
Yeah, you can only trust, and it's always fine. Always nice surprises. Yeah, Oh, and you already answered the question, because that would have been my next question. How can one work with you? So you are offering single sessions, you're offering courses, you're offering audios, so they can download a meditation on your website.
I do. So meditation for busy people, you can just subscribe to that on my website. My courses, I run them fairly frequently. I think my next one will be around October time, and they're online on Zoom, and they're in a group. And you can book that on my website, which is cloud7meditation.com. I do one-to-one sessions with people in person, if if you're local to me, but if you're listening to this, you probably won't be so local to me. But I can do those on Zoom as well, and they're really lovely, because we get really deep, and they're really targeted to you. Like I said, I use your technique to really intuitively feel what you need, and then offer you like a meditation plan to take you forward and to give you what you need. And I also teach in schools in my local area, which I love, because I love introducing kids to meditation, and they're just it's just so fabulous. They're so creative and so imaginative. And I do one-to-ones with kids as well. Like if a child is struggling with a particular issue, like, I don't know, OCD or ADHD, then I'll offer them techniques to help them manage their symptoms. Oh yes, and I also go into corporates as well, which is something that I've just recently started up, which I'm very excited about as well. And I offer them a plan to get their employees into meditating, using my meditations for busy people as the basis, and doing 90-day programs to cement a meditation habit. And then I go in and do workshops with them as well. So yes, that's what I do, all based around meditation.
Such great offerings. I'm just, wow, that's everything opens up huge perspectives.
Yes, and I think actually my past life as a lawyer wasn't all in vain, because at least now I kind of know what corporates, how stressful it can be, and how how your body and your mind feel when you're working in that environment. And the easy technique, I wish I'd known this when I was working there, easy techniques that you can do just to settle your mind and to bring your stress levels down. 2-minute breath work in the middle of when you're having a bit of a meltdown, and it just sorts you out. It's yeah. So I think that corporate background sort of has helped me in a weird kind of way.
Yeah, and I would like to go in this direction too, because I think this is where you can solve so many problems on a corporate level, and because this is where people spend most of the time, mostly.
Yeah,
exactly.
And you don't have to start with doing, because normally in my courses I recommend 2 times 20 minutes a day, but if you're new to it, you can start off small and just fit in your micro meditations every day, like do 2 minutes of breath work or a 4-minute visualization, and just start off doing the little steps, and then you can build on that. So these are really nice accessible steps that you can take, that you can actually do at your computer. You don't even have to shut your eyes, you can just pretend you're working.
Yeah, that's great.
Don't tell your boss.
I'm meditating. Oh my God. Yeah, for some it's still a scary thing, and like a little crazy, but it's getting more and more popular, and I'm so glad that you do it, that you bring it on a broad level, and like dedicate your whole life to it now, and showing kids and corporates and CEOs. This is really cool. I would love to leave the last word to you, like, out of your experience now as a former lawyer, mother of 3 kids, and meditation teacher. Is there any advice that's like you would say that's the essence, or this is what I would love to just give to you, because it's like standing, it's expressing a lot. So that's what I meant to say.
So the thing that always comes back to me, especially when I see my children go through difficult times, and when I go through difficult times, before I used to have a complete panic and think, oh my God, why is this happening to me? Why, why is my life so dreadful? Why am I suffering, etc. I now see all of those elements as just part of the natural fabric of my life, and you learn so much and you break through so much, and your body and your mind are just shifting and wanting to change, and you find new things that will help you and enhance your life. So one of my children's goes through difficult times, and at first it was hard to watch and hard to sit with. And then I realized, because she then started meditating really frequently, which is fantastic because that helps her. And then I realized, wow, this is actually an absolute gift for her, because she's learning how to manage these difficult times in her life at a really young age, so that when she gets to adulthood and life throws rubbish at her, she has tools and she has the ability to navigate through it without having a complete meltdown like I did when I reached sticky points in my life. I can now navigate them a bit better, but before I couldn't. So I think I'm not quite sure why I'm saying this, but I think difficult times are the start of something wonderful often, and they're not permanent, and they can lead to a blossoming of all sorts of stuff. And I've certainly seen that with my life. I've certainly seen my life just blossom and transform into something really special. And I love my life now as before there was a lot of stuff that needed to be changed. And yeah, I suppose, is that what, I can't even remember what your question was, but that's what fell out of my mouth.
This is an absolute synchronicity to what I've discussed earlier this day. It was about, like, what you're explaining is exactly what you need: chaos in your life to create something totally new.
Okay, that's why I said it then. Yeah. Perfect.
This is a really cool essence. I love it.
Excellent.
Thank you so much for being with me today.
Well, thank you so much, Solveig. Yeah, that was I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
And everybody who's listened to this, thank you. And if you are feeling like, yeah, I would like to get to know Becca closer, I would like to love to hear her meditations and work with her, you will find all the informations in the show notes. And I'm saying thank you today for all of you, and we will see you next time in the cafe at the edge of the field. Thank you so much. Bye bye.